What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of High-End Client Acquisition Podcast. And this one, you'll learn the path of changing your career or change the industry that you're in if you don't like it or don't resonate with it anymore. My guest today is Aprille Franks, also known as Aprille from Coach, Speak, and Serve. She's an author, a business coach, marketer. Her event, EpiCon 2019, is coming up soon. Of course, depending on what time you're going to listen to this episode. Aprille would share her story, her experience going from owning a real estate company in her past into doing what she does on a daily basis now, which is something completely different, as I just mentioned. She's having one of the most engaged audiences that I've ever seen in her Facebook group. Not necessarily a huge audience, but super, and people really look up to her and what she does, and they really engage with every single piece of content she puts out there. Let's do it. Welcome to High-End Client Acquisition Podcast. My name is Marian. I'm your host, and this show is here to teach you how to attract your dream clients on autopilot in 30 days or less. Each week, I bring you a guest or a strategy that can help you take your business to the next level. Don't forget, you can always get the episodes in your inbox or messenger at clientacquisitionpodcast.com. Hey, Aprille, thanks a lot for being on this show. For everybody that is not familiar with Aprille, what do you do, who you are, what's your brand about? Can you let us know a bit about yourself?
I'm Aprille Hunt, called Epic Aprille. I'm the master coach and president of Coach, Speak, and Serve, which is a company that helps purpose-driven coaches, speakers, and authors make more money with their voice doing what they love. In a nutshell. And I do a whole bunch of other things, but we'll start there.
Awesome. So you're helping people monetizing their audience and a lot of other great things around that topic. And that's awesome. That's great. Everyone is looking at you today, being successful, having the right audience and having a super engaged following. But let's take a step back and understand who was Aprille before all this and how did she get here? What's your story behind the brand that you've built today?
Well, I think my story is unique and maybe not so much, I don't know, but for me it is. And definitely, I dropped out of high school. I didn't go to college. I don't have a GED still, right? So that's part of my story. And so that's what it was like. It was like I had to pull myself up and make a decision that I just wanted to be successful. And I had to decide what that looked like. What does success look like for me? And so, all of the things that you see, this is why I say, like, when you see successful people, I feel like they deserve to be there. Like, you never know what those people have been doing behind the scenes. The late nights, the almost going bankrupt, spending all your money, trying to make your dream work, going through relationships, like people not understanding your passion and all that kind of stuff. Like, that stuff is real. So for me, when I first got started, it was because I had hired a career coach, a career transition coach, because I owned a real estate company before. But I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that was like, that I wanted to do, like I wanted to, everybody, we all want to help people. We're all big helpers, and I wanted to be in this world of transformation. And so I just decided to do it.
That's awesome. And out of your entire journey, what do you think were the main struggles that you faced?
I think the main struggle was not knowing what you didn't know. It's like you don't know what you don't know. It's like, okay, let's say you want to start. I want to start a coaching business. You don't know, like, how do you build packages? How do you market? How do you get people to say yes? How do you actually coach them from this place to this place? I think that was probably like the biggest thing, is demystifying an industry that's not even really regulated. Right? And so it's like, what do you do? What's right? What's wrong? Is there a right? Is there a wrong? And so that was kind of the biggest thing. It wasn't necessarily money, because I am a money maker, meaning I can activate a side hustle like this, right? So the first thing, to truthfully, when I wanted to hire a coach, I wanted to go to this training seminar, and it was $5,000, and I didn't have $5,000 at that time. And not for that, right?
Yeah.
And so I decided that I was going to build Wix websites. So Wix is like Wix.com. You could build a site. Right. So I started calling companies who I knew didn't have a website. And I would build their website for $500. So I call and I say, hey, what's your website? I want to know more about your business. And they say, oh, I don't have a website. And I was like, oh, really? Well, that's great.
Like cold calling, literally cold calling people?
Like literally cold calling. And I would charge them $500 a pop, and that's how I made the money to go on this $5,000 thing.
No excuses. Like, there's no way that you can say anything like that.
Right. Like, you got to bake cupcakes. Are you doing resumes for friends? I mean, like, you know, in this day and age, you can drive Uber. Like, what do you need to do?
What's your excuse, right?
To make it happen. You know, and I don't know, you saw, because we're at this event here, and so we met, and there's a guy here that came to see me from LA, and his name is Serena. He has cerebral palsy. He's in a wheelchair.
I've seen the live.
And he came, and he's a speaker. He's speaking at USC in a week. And he said, cut the bullshit. He's like, what's your excuse? Like, there's all these barriers. People can say, I don't have the education. I don't have money. More than education and money is drive. Do you have the drive to just say, I'm gonna do it? I don't have all the answers. I don't know all the nooks and crannies. I don't know what all the detours are gonna be, but I'm gonna try, right? I'm gonna be resourceful. I'm gonna hop on Google. I'm gonna start going networking, seeing who is doing what I wanna be doing, and stalking them, you know, online if you have to, you know? And so that's part of it. It's like, so in the beginning, it was just not knowing, and then you having to do that due diligence to figure it out for yourself.
That's powerful. And I need to say, I was a bit, sleepy before your presentation today and before it started, because you were right around 1:30 p.m. or so, but your presence in the room like really brought the audience to the roof. Now, you mentioned something in one of your questions, so I want to address that regarding your mentor that you hired. What exactly did that mean to you? Like, did you just follow everything that your coach told you to do and it just worked? What was that impact to you?
So here's what's interesting. This was about 6 years ago. She charged me $189 for this session, and she did an interview with me, made me read this ebook, and then she came back and she said, based on what you're sharing with me and what your dreams are and what you've done, these are the 5 things I think you should be doing. I think you should start a women's empowerment movement, which I did. That was the first brand I started, Women Recharge. You should start a travel group because you love travel, which I did. We called it Diva Escape. So we would travel stateside and out of the country. Yep. And I still travel heavily, just got back from Venice. And she said you should write a book and tell your story, which I did. She said you should start a nonprofit, which I'm starting one now, finally, for teenage entrepreneurs. And there was a 5th thing I can't remember, but I did it. So the last thing that was left to do was the nonprofit. And she gave me what to do. She didn't tell me how to do it.
Just like a blueprint of...
It was a blueprint of, this is some things that you should do, and here's some resources to kind of get started. And she sent me on my way. And then it was my job to then decipher.
Figure out.
Yes, and so but then I hired someone else to help me with the book. I hired a book coach, and the book coach helped me, and then I started really paying attention and going to trainings and watching things like this that gave me real insights behind the scenes on what was going on with real people, so I knew what to look out for. And that's what I did. I mean, honestly, like, it's so funny because I still have the email she sent me. It wasn't anything fancy. Sent me the email outlining anything. I printed it off and I started highlighting shit, like,
Start doing it.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, write a book. About what? Right.
Like when you put it that way, obviously, like, write a book is like not writing a blog.
Right. It's like what am I writing about? But that's kind of the fun of it too. It's like figuring it out along the way and not taking everything so seriously. I mean, obviously we got to make money and we got to make an impact, but having fun with it, like, that's the best thing, is that we get the flexibility of being flexible.
That actually gets me to my next question. After you've been working with so many coaches, authors, speakers, what do you think is the main thing that people do wrong? From your point of view, of course.
I think there's a couple things with entrepreneurs in general. One of them is they are not spending their money in the right places. So they go out and they attempt to build a website, of this or that. They really don't have a brand. They have an idea. Yeah. And they have things that look good that don't mean anything to a specific target audience. They created things that look good to them. So they love pink, or they love blue, or they love orange. So they created a website, and then they think they have a message. So that's the first thing, is that they're not branded really. So it really is no brand. Because the visual elements is one thing, but understanding who your avatar and your message is, that's something totally different. And so those are two separate things. So once you understand what the brand is about, then you can attach the visuals to it. Okay, great. Now let's talk about colors and typography and that sort of thing. Logos, websites. So I think that's the number one mistake. The second thing I think is that people think that there is an easier way. Like they think they can spend money to be successful, and you can't. Like you have to invest in the right things in order to get the know-how. Like we're here at this event, right? And so this is an investment of time, of money, of energy, of meeting, people of like minds. And so investing in the right things, I think, is really important as well. And then I have another third thing. The third thing is when they do make money, they spend it on bills, and they should be reinvesting it in the business. So like, for example, let's say you're a new author and you have a job, you have your book, and let's say your book's the only thing you got. So you got a $20 book, you're selling it, let's say you make $500, that you don't pay your car note with that money.
Oh, like don't
commingle your funds. Like you have to reinvest that money in the business, because you don't just get to spend all the money that you made. Like it has to be reinvested, because your business is going to have more demands. And so I think those are the initial things.
So you see that very often?
All the time.
No, I mean, not necessarily, but you didn't even think about it too much. Nonetheless, if somebody is just changing their career, or they just start out like right this second, what's the path that you would recommend somebody to go in order to get started and reach some sort of success, whatever level of success?
Let's say you don't have a lot of money, okay?
But you got time.
But you got time, because you have to recognize there's a couple things that you should know right up front, and that is you either have to learn it yourself and do it, or pay someone else to do it. Those are our only two options. We either learn it and do it, and now that doesn't mean you're gonna do it well, but you learn it and do it, right? Do it to the best of your capability, or pay someone else to do it. Those are our options, right? I can either learn to build a website and do it myself, or I can pay someone to do it. Now, I want you to understand that from the beginning. So no matter what, every time there's a decision to be made, you have to ask yourself, what is your time worth in regards to you actually doing everything in the business? Now, let's say you don't have a big budget to do a lot of things. My first thing to you is get a second job, period. Get a side hustle, period, because the business is going to need some money. The second thing I want to say is implement free. A lot of people get free resources and free information, and they don't implement it. That's the problem. They don't implement it. So then when you're not implementing, because then you're looking for an easier solution when there isn't one. So I would really be paying attention to when you opt in and you get that ebook or that report from a reputable person, implement every single thing they said. Because typically the next offer, the things that they're going to offer you that you can buy, is going to be a low offer, which could be potentially something you can afford, and if you have a job, work overtime. If you can bake cookies on the side, listen, there's something you can do, because the truth is you're going to have the money. And that's just, what it is. So the first thing was to make sure that you understand that someone's going to have to do it. It's going to be either you or someone you hire. And then implement free. Like I see people all the time opting in for things, and they never even do it. They never do it. And then they wonder why they're confused. So it's like, implement what's free. And here's another bonus. So if you're looking for, let's say, how to write a book, find 3 book coaches and opt into all 3 of their free things and see what's different, because you may end up getting even more information because of that.
Different persons.
Right. But I want you to also know that free is designed as an introduction. So you're not going to be a billionaire off of free, or a millionaire, or a 6-figure-naire, right? But it will get you out of the starting gate, right? And into the energy of where you're wanting to be, and that's important.
That's very true. And really love the fact you say, straight to the point.
No, you have to grind your ass.
That's super. Hey, Aprille, thanks so much for sharing your story and your expertise here. Since we are about to wrap this interview up, how can people reach out to you if they want to hear more about you or even work with you?
The best place to find me is on Facebook. In my Facebook group, you can search Coach, Speak, and Write for Profits. That's the best place to find me for free, to get free resources on how to grow your business. If you're interested in consulting, have a consult with me to discuss what your options are in regards to business education, coaching, training, then you can go to hireaprille.com. That's hireaprille.com.
And of course, we'll make sure to put all those links in the description of the interview. Also, your last thought, what should people take away from this interview?
That would be to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you and that will not piss on your dream. Like, that's it. Like, find people who are excited that you're excited about what you want to do. Not people that are saying things to you like, why would you do that? How are you going to do that? Who do you think you are to do that? You want to find people who are pumped up about you being excited about the potential of what you can do if you really put your mind to it.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview with Aprille, and go ahead and check her out. Like I said, I don't think I've ever seen an audience that engaged and the way that they respond to the content that Aprille puts out there. But nonetheless, I hope it's now clear for, a lot of our listeners, in case you do want to change your career or change the industry that you work in, it's always possible. There are a few steps that you need to take, and of course, hiring a coach, it's something very important. But let's say if you are at a level that you don't afford a coach, like right this second, first things first, like one of the big takeaways of this episode should be you either have time and do the work yourself, or shorten the gap, shorten that time that you spend by hiring a coach, right? Like, there are two ways that you can maximize your resources. So I would say my biggest takeaway from this interview is being resourceful. So either you have time to invest and do the things yourself, or hire somebody that can shorten that time frame for you. All right? Again, don't forget, guys, go to clientacquisitionpodcast.com, sign up there, get notified every single time before we even release the episodes. And not just that, be able to win different type of giveaways. We got books, courses, coaching, a lot of gadgets and other stuff that you'll be able to find out. But not just that, it's also having a chance to ask your question, like literally just reply to one of the automated text or emails that you get in there and be able to ask your question. And starting next week, we're actually going to transform the podcast into a daily live show where we'll take all your questions and answer it live on my Facebook page. So if you go to facebook.com Marian Esanu live, I'm not going to spell it right now, but I'll put the link in the description below because it's much easier to do that. All right. And don't forget, clientacquisitionpodcast.com. I can't wait to meet you guys in the next one. Take care. Hey, podcast listeners, I want you to know that I really appreciate your attention and I don't take it lightly. That's why each month we pick a lucky winner and we give away books, mentorship, software, courses, iPads, and other cool stuff. The way to enter is go to clientacquisitionpodcast.com and sign up. You'll get all the details there. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.